$891 million. That's how much the United States spent on February 28th. One day. Not the whole war. One day. A Tomahawk cruise missile cost $3.6 million. In the first 100 hours, the Pentagon fired 168 of them. That's $600 million in Tomahawks alone, before you count a single interceptor, a single sortie, a single gallon of jet fuel. But here's the thing most people miss about the cost of this war. The Pentagon's bill is only the beginning. The real bill, the one you're paying right now, shows up at the gas pump, at the grocery store, on your mortgage statement, and in a decision the Federal Reserve made today. This is the full accounting. What Operation Epic Fury actually costs. Not the number the Pentagon gives Congress, the number that hits your bank account. Let's start with the number the government will admit to. The Center for Strategic and International Studies, one of the most respected defense think tanks in Washington, published their first cost estimate on March 5th. The first 100 hours of Operation Epic Fury cost $3.7 billion. That's $891 million per day, roughly $37 million per hour. By day 6, the munitions bill alone hit $11.3 billion, and by day 12, CSIS put the total at $16.5 billion, including $1.7 billion in combat losses and damage to American bases across the region. One of those losses was an early warning radar system at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. A single Iranian ballistic missile struck it. That radar was worth $1.1 billion. One missile, one target, $1.1 billion gone. To put this in perspective, at peak, the Iraq War cost America $300 million a day. Operation Epic Fury is running at nearly 3 times that rate, and we're on day 18. The Pentagon has already signaled it will ask Congress for $50 billion in emergency supplemental funding, and some defense analysts are saying even that won't be enough. Before this war started, the Department of Defense was already $28.8 billion short on its munitions budget for 2026. But that's the military ledger. That's the money they track. The bill you're actually paying is a completely different number. 3 weeks ago, a gallon of regular gas in America averaged $2.98. It had been below $3 for 13 consecutive weeks, the longest streak since 2021. Today, the national average is $3.72. That's a 74-cent jump in 18 days. That's not an accident, and it's not just seasonal demand, it's the Strait of Hormuz. Before February 28th, more than 100 ships passed through the strait every single day. 20% of the world's oil, 21 million barrels. Since the war started, only 21 tankers have made the full crossing. In 18 days, that's a 94% drop in traffic through the most important oil choke point on Earth. On March 14th, traffic through the strait hit 0. Not reduced, not limited. 0 confirmed crossings in either direction. The first time that has happened in the strait's modern history. Brent crude, the global benchmark, closed yesterday at $103 a barrel. This morning it jumped to $109. Before the war, it was sitting around $67. That's a 62% increase in less than 3 weeks. Now here's where this connects to your kitchen table. The average American household drives about 13,500 miles a year. At current gas prices, that's costing roughly $420 more per year than it did in late February. And that's just gasoline. Diesel is where the real damage hides. Diesel is just under $5 a gallon right now, up $1.34 from last month. And diesel doesn't just power trucks, it powers the entire supply chain. Every product on every shelf in every store in America got there on diesel. When diesel goes up $1, everything goes up. The government knows this is a problem. That's why the White House authorized the release of 172 million barrels from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve over the next 4 months. The International Energy Agency went further, coordinating a 400 million barrel emergency release across member nations. It's the largest emergency oil release in IEA history, and it still hasn't stopped prices from climbing. Because 400 million barrels sounds like a lot, until you realize the world consumes about 100 million barrels per day. That's 4 days of global demand, spread over 4 months. But the gas pump isn't even the most expensive line item on your personal war bill. That distinction belongs to something the Federal Reserve decided today. 6 months ago, the economic story in America was simple. Inflation was cooling. The Fed had just cut rates 3 times in a row to close out 2025. Mortgage rates dipped below 6%. Analysts were projecting 2 or 3 more cuts in 2026. Cheaper loans, cheaper borrowing, a softer landing. That story is dead. Today, March 18th, the Federal Reserve held interest rates steady at 3.5 to 3.75%, no cut. And the market is now pricing in 0 cuts for 2026. Some economists are saying the Fed may have to raise rates before the year is out. The reason is oil. When energy prices spike, they push up the cost of transportation, manufacturing, food production, everything. And the Fed's job is to keep inflation at 2%. It was already running above target before the war. Now, with oil above $100 and diesel near $5, inflation is heading the wrong direction. Mortgage rates have already jumped from below 6% in late February to 6.26% as of March 16th. That doesn't sound like a lot, but on a $400,000 home, that quarter-point increase adds about $60 to your monthly payment. Over 30 years, that's $21,600. And it's not just mortgages, every credit card, every auto loan, every line of credit. When the Fed holds rates high, borrowing stays expensive everywhere. The average credit card interest rate in America right now is above 22%. 6 months ago, people expected that to come down. It's not coming down. So think about what's actually happening here. You're paying more at the gas pump. You're paying more for groceries because diesel makes everything more expensive. You're paying more on your mortgage, or you're locked out of refinancing. You're paying more on your credit card, and eventually, through your taxes, you'll be paying for the $50 billion the Pentagon is about to ask Congress for. This is the real cost of the war. Not $891 million a day. That's just the Pentagon's number. Your number is layered into every transaction you make. Here's the part nobody in Washington wants to talk about. Even if the war ends tomorrow, even if a ceasefire is announced tonight, the economic damage doesn't stop. The Strait of Hormuz doesn't reopen overnight. Shipping insurance premiums have surged over 300%. Every major container line, Maersk, MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, CMA CGM, suspended Hormuz transits. Rerouting a tanker around the Cape of Good Hope adds 3 to 4 weeks to delivery times. Those delays create backlogs. Those backlogs create shortages, and shortages keep prices high long after the headlines move on. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve? It was already at historic lows before this release. Draining another 172 million barrels means America has less cushion for the next crisis. And there's always a next crisis. The munitions? The Pentagon burned through $11.3 billion in weapons in 6 days. The defense budget was already $29 billion short on munitions. Replacing what's been used will take years. That's years of defense contracts, production lines, and appropriations bills, all funded by the same taxpayer who's also paying $5 for diesel. And then there's the number that should concern everyone the most. The Penn Wharton Budget Model estimates that a 2-month limited conflict, no ground troops, would cost between $40 and $95 billion. If this drags on or escalates, the projections cross $100 billion. For context, that's roughly the annual budget of the Department of Education, the Department of Transportation, and NASA combined. So let's bring this together. $891 million a day in direct military spending. $16.5 billion in the first 12 days alone. The Pentagon preparing to ask for $50 billion more. Oil at $109 a barrel. Gas up 74 cents in 18 days. Diesel near $5. The largest emergency oil reserve release in history. The Federal Reserve frozen. Mortgage rates climbing. And 0 rate cuts on the horizon. There are two ways this goes from here. In the first scenario, the war winds down quickly. Diplomacy takes hold. The Strait of Hormuz reopens gradually. Oil drifts back toward $80. Gas prices stabilize by summer. The Fed finds room to cut in December. The economy absorbs the shock. It's painful, but temporary. In the second scenario, the conflict extends through the summer. The strait remains effectively closed. Oil pushes past 120. Gas hits $5 nationally. Inflation reaccelerates. The Fed raises rates. Mortgage rates climb past 7. Consumer spending contracts. And the word nobody wants to say out loud starts showing up in the forecasts. The last time oil stayed above $100 for more than 6 months, 3 major economies entered recession. Today is day 18.